Hi, good morning, everybody. Sorry for being late. It's pretty much almost 15 minutes late. We just had some technical problems here, but thankfully we were able to get everything organized, and we are here to talk about something very important, to talk about gratitude, especially on this weekend that we celebrated Thanksgiving here in Canada. So I think it's a very appropriate moment for us to reflect and think about this special virtue that we need to make it grow in our heart day by day. So I brought many reflections that we're gonna go over in the next few minutes here. And especially today, I want to give a big thank you to everybody that is here and join us. We have a few friends here physically with us at TSS, and we have you in the other side virtually. So it's always a pleasure to have everybody together. So before starting, I'm gonna do a quick prayer from the book Happy Life from Divaldo Pereira Franco by the Spirit of Joanna de Angelis. And after that, I'll do a prayer, an initial prayer. Everyone suffers while in the world. Pain is an efficient method for renewal when love and its benefits are lacking. In the face of this inevitability, which the spirit must confront in many varied hues, it is necessary to receive pain with dignity and confidence. What is a torment today? A threat tomorrow will become peace. Physical and mental illness or economic or moral affliction passes. Their results depend on the way they are received. Do not consider yourself unhappy. Therefore, when you are suffering, take the benefits of suffering and go on, encouraged. So let's take a few moments to connect ourselves to the peace and love that we share here in this moment, that we receive from our good mentors that are here with us. Let's fill our body, our soul with this good energy. And let's fill our heart with this sentiment of gratitude. Let's be grateful for our lives, for our health, for being here today. And even if we are facing so much pain and torments in our lives, let humbly ask to God to give us the strength, the resignation, and the understanding to overcome all the situations, knowing that the life is eternal and this is just a tiny moment in our journey, and we will be able to overcome. And no matter how difficult it is, it will pass. So, with our heart full of gratitude, let's get ready for this lecture today. We ask our mentors to guide us through this moment for us to be able to get the most benefit of the next few minutes. And we ask for protection through the week that is about to come. Thank you very much. So be it. All right, my friends, thank again for having you all here. And I turn on the projector, but I will not be able to connect my computer there. Sorry for you, but I mean the slides is mainly for me. There's just a few words here that I think will not compromise the result of what we're going to talk about today. So as I said, we're going to talk about gratitude today. And I have to say that what is a topic that I like very much. I like to read about, I like to reflect on that, because once we start to study and read about this, we see how much we need to develop that in our hearts. No matter how grateful you think you are, I can tell you that there's still a lot more that we need to consider. Because what happened is that even if we consider ourselves very grateful for the life we have and for everything we have, in the first obstacle that we face, the first difficult moment, we kind of forget all the blessings we already received, right? And we tend as human beings, as the stage of evolution we are right now, we tend to get stuck on those tiny moments. And for that moment, we start just to see only what is negative and what is difficult in our lives and kind of forget all the blessings that we've already received. So the lecture today will be basically to to call you guys to open our eyes for that, like to kind of redirect our minds, our vibration, and our connections to all the blessings we received all the time that we tend to forget when we face a difficult situation. So, when we think about gratitude, first let's start by the meaning, right? If we go to the Oxford Dictionary, the word gratitude came from the Latin word gratus. That means pleasing, thankful, grateful, all the idea of being happy with something you received. And there is always a strong connection between gratitude and spirituality. When I say spirituality, I'm not just saying about spiritism. I'm saying about any kind of connection to the spiritual world or to religiosity, no matter which religion you are. We see that people that are able to be more grateful, they have some connection with God or with any type of faith or spirituality. And that makes sense because if we think about gratitude, it's very hard for you really to be grateful if you don't believe that there is something beyond us, right? It's hard for you to understand the meaning of all the things that you received in life, either the bad things or the good things, if you really believe that life is just what we see here, what we touch, and what we feel, right? So, and there are many studies that already show that people that are more connected to God or to any kind of faith, they are more chances that they recognize better all the things that they received, and more chances also that they have more resignation to understand uh, the challenges and the difficulties in life. Okay, so those things usually kind of walk together. But there are many people that go to the church every week or like regularly, or come to the Spiritist Center regularly, although they are physically there, but they are not able to really have that strong connection to what they believe or to what they listen, to what they read. And just by going doesn't mean that you are able to really have that connection that will help to cultivate the gratitude inside you. So, what I invite you guys today is that not only to hear what I'm saying, but really try to think on your own experience and how much of that you can relate it to. How much of what I'm going to say here you see and you feel in your life every day. And start to do that exercise. Every time you read, like it's nice to read a passage from the gospel and kind of see yourself on those moments, or watch a nice movie, like one of those inspirational movies, and kind of related to yourself to those situations. Uh, these help us to kind of see how blessed we are and kind of bring up that sentiment, that feeling of gratitude on us, right? So in positive psychology research, and there are many of that published already, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. And that makes sense, right? More grateful you are, more chances are that you get close to a happy state. As spiritists, we know that the perfect happiness is not from this world. We are not there yet to that level of evolution that we can be completely happy all the time. But we understand that more grateful you are, more chances are that we're gonna enjoy life in a different perspective. And even when we face difficult situations, more chances are that you're gonna be stronger and more prepared to face those situations because you have that gratitude inside you. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that the gratitude is the key component to help us to succeed in life. No matter what you are supposed to face, no matter how hard and challenging your life is or will be during this current experience here on earth, if you develop or feel or feed this feeling of gratitude inside you, you're going to get everything you need to overcome any situation. Because by having that true gratitude, will connect you stronger to God, will strengthen your faith, will help you to connect to the good energy and all the spiritual support that is close to you all the time. And pretty much will change all the aura, all the environment around you. If we think about colors, a person that is grateful is that person that has that blue, beautiful aura around them all the time. On the other hand, those depressed and very negative people, they have that dark cloud inside of them, like on top of them all the time, right? Because that's all about connections. That's when you feel bad and not grateful, it's very hard, nearly impossible for you to connect it to the help from the spiritual world, to the help from God, to the all the good things that are there to trying to help you, right? And it will be, of course, like a snowball, will be more and more difficult for you to find a solution or to realize the solutions that is there to help you and to get away from that negative circumstance. So it's like a cycle. On the other hand, more grateful you are, more chances that you're going to see the whole situation in a different perspective and will be able to find solution for that. And it's interesting when we see some of those research. I had the chance to read one from Harvard. There's a website in the Harvard Medical School that, especially in the psychology department, that mentions many of those studies in positive psychology. And one of them was pretty interesting. They pretty much divided a group of people in 3 different groups. One, they asked them, okay, every week you're going to do a journal. Actually, for all the 3 groups, they asked them every week to do a journal about what happened in their lives. So the first group, they should mention, like once a week or so, they should mention all the things that happened in that week that they are grateful for. It can be anything that give them that feeling of gratitude. The second group, they should write about anything that was unpleasant, that makes them feel upset or bad, that something that they did not like. And the third group, they should on their report, they should just write randomly about anything that impacted them during their life, during that week, either positive or negative, does not matter. Whatever happened in that week that they think affected them in some way, either positive or negative, they should put in the journal. After about 10 weeks, they realized that the group that was talking about gratitude consistently, they were more positive, they were more, like in some way, they showed signs of being more happy in general. They had better sleep at night, they had better healthy, even less visits to doctor office. Indirectly, they are also connected, like they were also the group that was doing more physical activities more consistently, like all the important aspects to have a healthy physical and mental body. They were doing. So, which means that, as the study said, of course, we cannot do a conclusion of cause and effect in this type of study, but there is a very strong association that they present between being grateful to being happy and healthy. Okay, and of course, everybody in all different groups, they were facing challenges and difficult situations. The life was not easier for those who were more grateful, or for those who were doing the report weekly about gratitude, about being thankful for something. They still face difficulties. That didn't change. But what changed was their perspective and the way they face those situations. And that's what we're going to talk about more in the next few slides. So when we think about gratitude, one of the like maybe great example that we have in the gospel is the Apostle Paul. And those who had a chance to read the book Paul and Stephen, and had a chance to learn more about the life of Paul, that was initially Saul, right? And then he was a very prestigious, rich man in the Jewish society at that time. Very successful businessman, very like the very high socio-economic class. So he pretty much had everything that's someone would dream for at that time. But at the same time, he had everything materially. He was very empty morally, like he was not really happy inside. And that's when it came the transformation, and the soul became Paul, right? When he had a chance to meet Jesus, and he realized all his mistakes, and had a chance to do this big transformation in one life cycle. When he became Paul, his life was like, and still is, a huge inspiration for all of us. So when you read all the letters that Paul wrote, in every single letter, in some way, although he was talking about different topics, he was also always mentioned the importance of being grateful, of having that gratitude inside our hearts. And we know, for those who have studied Paul's life, you know how challenging it was for him when he became Paul. He faced all the difficulties from the society. Nobody really understood him. And his life was close to being miserable. Like, he was prison many times. He was arrested a few times and treated by the society like a no one, right? Nobody had respect to him anymore. But even though he was a lot happier that way compared to when he was a rich man in the society. And why? And he explained that in many letters, because he started to see the life in a different way. He started to understood what is his purpose in life, what was the meaning of life, and he started to be thankful and grateful for the life he had and for the opportunity to be there and being able to teach the others by his own example, to spread the word from Jesus, the teachings from Jesus. So one of the letters that are most famous that pass this message of the gratitude is the first letter for the Thessalonians, that you can find on chapter 5, verses 16 to 18, that he says, rejoice always. In other words, being grateful always. Pray without ceasing. In everything, give thanks, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So the moment that he wrote this letter, he was in a prison with another friend. And still, you can imagine, like, that probably was the most difficult moments that he has, was all the time that he was arrested by the government at the time, right? And he still, instead of complaining, or feeling that depression and feeling that there was lots of injustice around him, instead of wasting his energy about like in that cycle that we tend to do that all the time, right? When we face difficulties, we tend to think that life is not just, and sometimes even God is not just. Those kind of thoughts come to our mind all the time because we think that we are the most special person. So how come that is happening to me? Instead of Paul going through that cycle, he was in a prison, like receiving nothing, hungry, and not like in terrible condition. But instead of going through that negative thoughts, cycle of thoughts, he spent time with his friend to pray and to thank God for being alive and for being there, being able to be his instrument in that life. And that's when he wrote those letters, right? So he was definitely a great example for us and a great inspiration. Of course, very few of us, or maybe none of us, are in that level of evolution, right? I'm not saying that we have to be like Paul, but we have to use him as an inspiration to help us to get there. And we will all get there. That's for sure. That's a certainty that we have in life, that we're gonna get to that stage of evolution, that we clearly see life beyond all this. We truly understand the meaning of life and the purpose that we are here as immortal beings. But we are not there yet. So we need also to like take it easy and understand our mistakes, but also learn with them and use those examples like Paul to help us, like to give us the understand that yes, it's possible to reach that level. So let's work on a daily basis, right? In another letter from the Philippines, chapter 4, he said, "Not that I speak from want, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstance I am." So again, he's saying the same thing. No matter what is happening in my life, I'm happy because I understand that if I'm facing those struggles, there's a meaning behind, there's a reason. So instead of complaining and being negative, let's change our perspective to a way that instead of complaining, we think, "Dear God, what do you want from me now? Show me what I need to change. What, like this stressful situation, what can I learn from this?" Instead of going to that cycle of, "Oh, why this is happening, and why?" Because a lot easier, right? To put ourselves in a victim situation and get into that cycle. But let's start this exercise from today. Always put yourself in a position of being humble, and ask God, "What would you like from me at this moment? Show me." And the help will be there for you, I can guarantee. So basically, we start by having that attitude and start to see the life around us in a different way. You will start to understand that your life will be always a result of your choice. It's not to blame X and Z about what you are facing. No, it's understanding that what you are facing now, it's a result of your choice, of something from this life or something from previous lives. Okay, so and that is when you start to the conflict inside you and the dispute that we still have inside of us between selfishness and pride and gratitude. Our exercise on a daily basis is try to strengthen the gratitude and kind of get away of the selfishness and pride that we all still carry. Okay? Because they don't go together, right? We are not able to be totally grateful for everything we have because we still carry a strong component of selfishness on us. And this applies to all of us. Okay, but only when we start to understand that that is the part that I need to work on, then this will help me to stop blaming the world around me about the challenges I'm facing, and will put myself in a position of action. I'm the one who is responsible to what I face. So in order for me to have a better future life, I need to start to change now. And where should I work on? Is on my selfishness. Because if you realize, we all the time is in a position of requesting. We request all the time, right? So, and that is everywhere, even in your family environment. If you realize, for example, if you have a partner, or if you have kids, or even if you live with your parents, or even a friend, if you live with, you start many arguments in your house. Most of them is because you are requesting something, because we tend to believe that we are the center of the attention there. And so this thing is not good here because I asked you to do this way, and this is not be done this way. So you start to create a situation in a kind of impairing the harmony of your environment, because things are not happening the way you want all the time, right? And I think it's my cell phone here just vibrating. Let me take it off here, then don't hear that noise anymore. So that's what pretty much starts all to bring all that disharmony to your family environment, or to your work environment, whatever you are. And basically, when you realize that most of the time, everything started because you allowed the selfishness to guide you through your actions, you're going to realize that the only way for you to change, if you give up a little bit. Don't wait, or don't expect that your kid is going to give up, or your wife, or your husband, or your partner. Oh, they need to change. Oh, this is happening because, but of course, this is happening because my partner is this, and this, right? So stop that cycle and think, okay, I cannot change my partner. I can only change myself. So what part of this I'm able to give up? By doing that, you are starting to feed the sentiment of gratitude inside you, because by giving up a little bit, it also shows you that you are grateful for having that partner, for having that life together, right? And you are able to understand the other side better. And in that way, all the positive things will come to you as well, because I can guarantee the other side will feel when you start to change, and they will change too. Because of course, it's not, I'm not saying that the problem is only you, it's only us. The problem probably is both sides. But we need to start to understand that in any relationship, we cannot change the other. So we need to think on ourselves, what can I change to be able to change the whole relationship or the whole situation? And that's mean being grateful. Gratitude is not only about saying thank you for something you received. It's about recognizing the life you have, give value to that, in like all aspects of your life. And you can only achieve that feeling if you start to work on your own selfishness. Okay, so in that way, I'm calling all of you to do that review on your own life, on your experiences. How am I going to look into my experiences, my daily experiences? Even something simple like going to work, or doesn't need to be a huge event in your life. This type of exercise you can do on a daily basis. How I look into every single situation. I can always look in a very negative way, or I can try to change. For example, yesterday I went to a farm with my kids. My husband was away, and the farm was close to Hamilton, so about 40 minutes driving from my home. And once I get there, was I have 3 kids, so like 1-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So I was very busy just being alone with them, right? When I parked there in the farm, ready to have fun with them, I look in my tire, my back tire, and I could hear the noise of air leaking. And I said, oh my God, I'm gonna get a flat tire. And I have no idea how to change a tire. I don't even know. I was not even aware that my car didn't have a spare tire, because this for me was kind of a standard in every type of car. But then I learned that there are some cars nowadays that does not have a spare tire. But okay, so at that moment, I look at that and said, oh my God, my husband's not here. I have no idea what to do. But then I could like panic and said, okay, how am I going to go home? But then I decided, you know what? I cannot change this. The tire, still looks good, but of course, in a couple of hours, it'll be totally flat. I cannot change that. I came here to have fun with my kids. I'll go have fun, and then I'll come back and call for assistance, like those road assistants, because there's nothing else that I can do, right? So by doing that, at least I was able to have fun with them. And instead of having 3 kids crying and pissing me off all the time until the assistants come and kind of mess up all our day over there, right? So and of course, was not easy when we were back and the tire was totally flat. Call for assistance and call for a tow, call for this and that but anyways, at the end, everything solved. But I could look into that as a very negative thing on that day, but I prefer to look on the positive things. The opportunity that I had to be there in that farm with my kids and see them enjoying it, right? So that's what I'm saying. Those little things really make the change. And if at the beginning I have chosen to see that in a very negative way, probably the rest of the day would be miserable for me and for the kids, right? So those are very small examples that, of course, we can translate that to the big things that happen in our lives too. But what I'm trying to say is that think about your attitude in every single moment of your life, how you react, how you respond, and start to change the small things. Even like if you start to change your attitude and your perspective for those little things, I can guarantee that will help you a lot when we face a big deal in your life, to be able to really overcome or have the resignation you need to face that situation, right? And always think, okay, in every single situation, there's always something that I can offer. It's not only about receiving all the time. We tend to complain a lot because I didn't receive that. I didn't receive the love I wanted from that person. I didn't receive the gratitude I want from my kids. I didn't receive this or that. In my work, my boss didn't recognize that I spent like so many extra hours working on this project. So we tend to look only on the things that we did not receive. Why? Because we are selfish. So instead of wasting so much time in looking into that, you start to think, what can I offer to this world? What can I offer to my family, to my work, and to whatever I am? You see how pleasant it is when you realize how important is offering something, offering some help in a voluntary work, in a voluntary project. Start to give more and not only focus on what you receive. All those things are essential for you to develop more and more the gratitude feeling inside of you. Okay, so the gratitude is an expression of this balance between what you received and what you give. If you focus too much only on what you receive, it will be very hard for you to be truly grateful. Okay. On the Spirit's book, there are a few questions that talk about gratitude. The question 535, they ask, when anything good happens to us, should we thank our guardian spirit for it? And then the spirits answer, first, thank God, without whose permission, nothing takes place. And next, thank the good spirits who have acted as God's representatives. So it's a combination, right? We have many guardian angels, like our mentors, that help us in many different situations. But first, always remember, God is controlling everything. So thank God, and then thank for those mentors that helped you to achieve that goal. What would happen if we neglected to thank them? And then the spirits clearly say that which happens to ingrates. So only ingrateful people are those who never say thank you. There are individuals who neither pray nor give thanks and seem to succeed in everything they do in spite of this. And for sure, if we think about our lives, we are able to point, maybe in our family, maybe in our work environment, or somewhere, we are able to point some people that you look at them, they look so successful, and they don't have any religions, any spirituality connection to anything. They seem not to believe on anything, and they seem not to be thankful anytime, and they still, in our eyes, look like a very successful person. How come that happened? And the spirit says, yes, but just wait and see the end of their lives. They pray dearly for the prosperity that they have not merited. The more they receive, the more they have to account for. So that law that God is always just, that will apply in any situation. So in our eyes, we look at that person and we at the moment don't understand how come they are so successful, since they are never thankful. But what the spirits are trying to tell us is that just wait, what you are seeing now is just a very tiny moment. Life is eternal, and what they are doing, they will need to pay for at some point. Nothing that we do will be forgotten in God's eyes, right? Everything there's a reason for. So pretty much the successful that we are seeing on those persons is nothing more than an illusion to our eyes, right? Which is the most, and then the question 893, they say, which is the most admirable of all virtues? The Spirit says, all virtues are admirable, as they are signs of progress on the moral path. Every act of voluntary resistance to the seductive influence of temptations for wrongdoings is a sign of virtue, but the sublimity of virtue entails the sacrifice of self-interest for the good of others without having any ulterior motives. The most admirable of all virtues is that which is based on charity and is the most fair-minded. In other words, the spirits here, they didn't clearly say what exactly is the most admirable virtue, but based on their explanation, they say that it's gratitude, right? Because it's gratitude that really brings to us that sentiment of charity, that looking into yourself as well as into the others and being fair, having that fair-minded inside you that truly guide you all the time. So you only achieve that when you are able to clear as much as you can the selfishness from your heart. And in the question 937, they asked, is the disappointment that leads to ingratitude and the fragility of friendship another source of bitterness for the human heart? So they are asking, like, is the disappointment of feeling the ingratitude is what causes the bitterness in human heart? The spirits answer, yes, but we teach you to feel pity for the ungrateful and faithless friends, as they are more unhappy than you. Ingratitude comes from selfishness, and people who are selfish eventually meet hearts as callous, as difficult as their own. So, more ungrateful you are, more chances are that you're going to face someone as ungrateful as you, that in some way is going to force to teach you that we need to change. That's basically what the spirits are saying, right? Think of all those who have done more good than you, who are more worthy than you are, and whose kindness were paid with ingratitude. Just thinking on Jesus, right? This is the great example. Look at Jesus' life. Look in the major example that he left to us. He was a guy who did everything in life to help the others. And look at how much ingratitude he received as a payment, right? But what Jesus did at the very end of his life, did he any time complain to God? Never, right? And even in the very last moment when he was in the cross there, suffering all the pain and being criticized and like by all those people, even in that moment, and especially after pretty much giving up all his life to the others and having that end of his life, instead of complaining, he looked into God and he asked for forgiveness for the others, right? God, please forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. Of course, my friends, we are very far from being Jesus, right? We are like not there, not even close yet. But I want you to reflect on his beautiful example, because it is possible for us to start to change ourselves, change the way we look into everything, change the way we look into our difficulties. We can always put ourselves as a victim, but on the other hand, we can always look around and see that although I don't receive any reward, this is what is correct to be done. This is what I am supposed to do. Okay? Don't change yourself based on the environment or the world you live. And then, if you don't receive what you want, you start to blame the world. That's exactly what you shouldn't do. Start to think about how important you are in your actions, in your life, and start to change your perspective. Start to give more, to offer more, not really expecting to receive anything. And for sure, your life is going to be better, even if it does not happen in this life. But we need to understand that we are in a journey of evolution, right? And as I said initially, that God is all justice, will be always just to you. So the payment that you aim for at some point will come if you keep doing what you truly believe it's supposed to be done. Okay? In the gospel, hi, welcome. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 28, also talk about a lot about this sentiment of gratitude and the importance of being grateful, importance of looking into all the things that you received every day, because gratitude only comes when you focus more on the blessings you receive and less on the difficulties and negative aspects of your life. Exactly the opposite that we easily do, right? So the chapter 28, it's the last chapter of the gospel that talks about many different prayers. In one part, they talk about thanksgiving and being thankful and the importance of being thankful. So they say, we must not consider as blessed successes only those things which are of great importance. Frequently, things that are apparently insignificant are those which most influence our destiny. Man easily forgets the goodness received, preferring to remember only the afflictions. If we were to register day by day the many benefits we receive without even having asked for them, we would be greatly surprised to perceive there are so very many that we have swept from our minds and would feel ashamed of our ingratitude. So do that reflection and think about your own life. And I'm sure you're going to feel that shame in many moments, because that happens to me quite often, especially when I'm facing a difficult situation that I realize that my mindset is so focused on something negative. If I have a chance to stop that moment and do that meditation and kind of let that movie go through my mind about all my life and all the aspects, everything that I've been through, I will be able to find a lot more positive than negatives. And it's amazing how come A tiny thing that happened to us can kind of disrupt all that good connection that we have with God, right? We get so focused in something sometimes so small that we totally get blind for all the blessings that we receive every day. So basically here, I invite you guys to do this exercise from that study that I mentioned in that study. You can either write, there are people that likes to write, or in your daily prayer, when you go to bed and to pray, try to think, what am I thankful for today? Do this exercise daily, but from your heart. And don't say the same thing all the time, because what happens is that you start to say, I'm thankful for my life, for my family, and that becomes repetitive. And the effect of that in your life will not be the same if that becomes so mechanical and repetitive. Start to think specific things. So instead of just saying, I'm thankful, oh, thank God for my family today, start to think about what happened today. Let's think, oh, I thank God for my partner that woke up today and he knew that I love chocolate. So he woke up and did that delicious hot chocolate that I love. Small things like that. Start to think about every day and either write or go through that in your mind. And instead of only in your prayer, only ask, oh God, help me this, help me that, I need that, and so on. Instead, like only doing that, put the gratitude on that feeling too, on your time with God, on your meditation, on your writing. Do that exercise daily. You will see that your perspective will change because you will spend time thinking in your blessings, thinking on how grateful you are, and feeling how amazing God is to all of us. I can guarantee no matter how hard is your life, there's always many blessings that we tend to forget, right? So gratitude is not about just saying thank you, as I said. It's about feeling, about action. Not only feel that gratitude, but put that in action. Go and help others. As I said, gratitude is not only about receiving, it's about what you offer. By doing something to the others, you show you are grateful for life, for your own life, for everything you have, right? It's about attitude. It's about transformation. You will only be able to be fully grateful when you start to transform yourselves, okay? That parable of the prodigal son, that I'm sure all of you are familiar, it's a very, very popular parable in many religions. And in Spiritism, we study that too. So when we have that moment that the son first leave the house, ask for the father of all his money and all the things that in his mind he has right to, right? Though this is, I'm your son, I want to live the life outside, so give me all the things, material things that it's I should receive, and I go and enjoy life. And of course, things went wrong with him in the world, right? And he had that moment that he was living in a very poor situation, in a job that he was not respected at all. He had to eat the same food that was given to the porks, right? And he had that click, that moment that I said, oh my God, in my father land, I could have a lot more than what I'm having here. What am I doing to my life? In my fatherland, even if my father does not accept me anymore, but if I be a worker, an employee of him, I would have a more dignity, more respect in life, because he does not treat his employees like I've been being treated right now. So I'm gonna go back, because over there I will have. I might not have the same privilege that I used to, but I will be more respected and people will care more about me, right? So that moment that he had that click was the moment that the gratitude start to grow in his heart. He had everything before, a life that everybody dreamed for. He had a good father. Nothing never was missed for him. He had nice food, nice clothes, had everything. But he didn't have what is most important inside of him, which is gratitude. So, and that's why he lost everything easily, right? But the time that he opened his heart to realize all the blessings that he totally neglected was the moment that he was able to be thankful, to go back to his origins and being humble to his father and ask him to accept him again. So it's a great example, right? And this happens to all of us. Sometimes we need to get at the very end to being able to realize, oh my God, what I'm doing to my life. But God is so much love and just that He will give us a chance to redo it, right? A chance to restart and kind of change yourself, right? So, how to reach that feeling of gratitude inside you? Start by something very simple. Start by reviewing your own life and think about the most important people that we have in this physical life today. If you think about it, some people say, oh, that's my partner, those are my kids, oh, those are a very good friend that I have. And I have to say, no, the most important people that you have to be grateful in this life is your parents. No matter which relationship you have to your parents, no matter if your parents abandoned you or if your father or your mother was faced difficult situations, was an alcoholic, was violent at home, was like did all the awful things, difficult things, the most important thing that you need, he gave you. That is your life to be here today. So for that, you should always be grateful. You don't need to agree with your parents, but you have to be grateful for the most precious thing you have today, that is your life. If it was not because of your parents, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have a chance to be in this amazing school and learn and progress, right? So I I have to say that for you to be able to develop gratitude for all the circumstances in your life, you need to start to the very beginning. That is by being grateful to your parents, and that will help you to see the things, everything else, in a very different perspective, and start to understand the meaning of the things that you lack in your life, because we tend to put ourselves as a victim and blame too much the world around us for the things that we don't have, and we truly believe that we should have. How come I don't have that? But once you change your perspective, you understand why I do not have that. So please, Jesus, help me to understand what I need to learn by the fact that I don't have these specific things. By understanding that, you have the resignation and you have the strength to overcome that. And that means being grateful, okay? Prioritize the blessings. Review your life with your heart, with the truth inside you, and put yourself in a position to change, knowing that for you to change the world around you, the only way is by starting to change yourself, right? And as I said, the idea of the thankful book, I think it's a great start, especially for us that are still like in that very beginning pathway of being better, right? We need some help to help us to get through this process. So just by having that exercise every day to think what I'm thankful for today, it will help you to get there. Okay, so this is basically what I wanted to talk to you guys today, and especially on this weekend of Thanksgiving. I wish you all a very nice weekend with your loved ones, and let's spend some time to reflect, what am I thankful for today? I thank everyone that is following us virtually, And I wish you all a very blessed Thanksgiving weekend. And let's do this exercise together every day. Let's think in our life and let's see what can I be thankful for. So I'm going to end our meeting today with our friends virtually. And here we're going to proceed with the passes. Thank you very much. Okay.